let's get started. And first thing I'll start off with is a recap. And while I'm doing the recap, let's make sure everybody's level 16. Christian, you can go in his character. I didn't roll extra hit points for him,
Oh, okay.
so just roll the hit dice thing and twice, and you should be good. Everybody got a long rest. So if you're not healed up, go ahead and you get your spell slots back. You get everything back, essentially. MJ, I wanted to make sure in preparation for this session, I realized that you had probably added the bonus from the last Silmaril that you had to your character sheet. It gave you, I think, a charisma bonus and something else. So if you had added that, the Silmaril's not in your possession anymore, so you have to subtract that back off.
So what if it's with me spiritually?
Then you can keep those ability. You can keep those ability points with you spiritually as well.
I don't know what I added it to.
I get.
Numbers on it, or if maybe it's in the.
It's in the old handouts, but I can tell you. So the Silmaril of Maethros gave you an extra 2 points to charisma.
All right. I don't know if I actually added those, but
okay. Yeah, I mean, if it's low, if your charisma's like 8 or 10 or something like that, you probably didn't.
It's 12. So.
Don't worry about it. I'm not gonna fight you for 12.
How about I'll look to 11. We'll split the difference.
All right, and then we didn't actually do our corruption rolls for. So I described this part of the campaign as basically Morgoth is coming back for sure. Like he's through the door of night and is sort of regaining his strength in the world. And the last battle is imminent, and you guys are right now. You're at the Palace of the Gods called Ilmarin, on top of the tallest mountain in the world. The mountain is called Taniquetil. All of these things are in your lore cards, and I've shared all the lore cards with everybody, so you can read them if you want to. You've gotten to Ilmarin, and you've discovered that there are 14 other Valar, not including Morgoth, right? That are in the world, but there are 8 in this palace, and these are the 8 that have specific quests. Or trials, right? That you have to do in order to make sure that the battle against Morgoth is a successful one. They're called the Trials of the Valar, and it's the elf that you're talking to. He's the High King of the Elves. He's also the King of the Vanyar, which is the group of elves that you really haven't spent much time around. They're the really golden-haired elves. So if you know a golden hair elf from one of the Lord of the Rings movie, like Galadriel, they have some Vanyar elves in them, or some blood in them. So the Vanyar elves are the spear elves. They're the ones that made Riken's spear that he was given. They were the first elves to be sort of on the front line in the War of Wrath when they first battled Morgoth. And they're the elves that most love the Valar. So they actually spend their time, near Taniquetil and Ilmarin here, so that they can be around the gods. And he's the High King, and he's kind of like your Hector, or not Hector, Virgil. He's your Virgil, right? If you're thinking of the Divine Comedy, he's kind of like your tour guide, because the Valar are basically immobile. They're like lifeless, almost like statues. They're unable to interact with you, which answers that question that we had talked about. Why aren't the Valar doing anything about the return of Morgoth? The prophecy even says that when eventually the Valar are going to get sort of weary and tired, and that's where you are in the timeline. Are we good so far? Are you guys following me?
Yeah.
Okay. So that you're talking to this elf. His name is Finwë, and he described Ilmarin as like a jumping off point for you. So whatever the quest that you decided to do, and you decided to do the quest, the trial of Ulmo, which was to go to try to find Maglor, because Maglor was the elf who had one of the Silmarils, and it burned him after he had slain a bunch of his brothers and elves. He was tainted and therefore couldn't hold the Silmarils, and it burned his hand, and he tossed it into the sea. And he sort of has been roaming the world looking for it ever since. And he's kind of described as kind of, people that have seen him over the years have described him as kind of crazy.
What was his name? Sorry, I missed that.
Maglor.
Okay.
And you had his brother Maethros tossed his. Actually, he kind of jumped into the earth with it. He had a Silmaril, and it burned him as well. And so there was one in the earth, one in the ocean, and one in the sky. Okay. And so you found the one that was in the earth. Tonight you're gonna be looking for the one that was in the sea or is in the sea. And there's one other one that Erendil had in the sky, and you're guessing that it has been knocked out of the sky by Uncaligan the dragon. And maybe that's the next trial that you do, to try to assemble these Silmarils first. But when he's talking with you here, a portal opens up. Once you select the trial, a portal opens up, and on the other side you see a shoreline in the mountains. And you would recognize anybody from Middle Earth, which is everyone except Morloman. You would recognize the mountain range as the Blue Mountains, which is where Thorin Oakenshield lived for a time before he went back to Erebor. But for now, before I do any more recap, let's do. You owe me 2 corruption rolls and Tessero 2 trauma rolls, and this is a wisdom save, Christian.
Oh, give me that crit miss. Starting the night off right. Welcome back. It's good to be home.
Well, Burin's definitely no Anglin.
Yeah. That's all Anglin could do was save. He contributed nothing else.
And so I was describing this land, and I meant to describe this earlier, as there are no fellowship periods. You're wandering a land that is consumed by the shadow now. Morgoth is coming back. It's imminent. And so you basically are traveling all of these blighted lands, except in certain instances, I'll say you don't have to do it. But you essentially, by the end of this, you could all be suffering from the miserable condition. You know.
Got ya. I'm pretty wise. I think I'll be okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
The rest of you might be pretty bugged up.
Ooh, Tessero. Actually, did you just barely save?
Well, I have advantage.
On what? On saves?
Against corruption.
I thought that was the trauma roll.
Oh, that is. Oh, the trauma roll is corruption, right? I forgot that. But yeah, but if it is an 8, so I save, right?
Okay, yep.
All right, so
just make sure you're keeping track of your shadow points. If so 15, so you have to get 15 or above.
okay, so I get 1 shadow point.
Yep. Okay.
Did any of the ones before go away? It's 7, I guess.
Yeah, we could say at Tyrion when you got your rest, they all dropped off.
So I have 1 now.
Oh, unless well, they all dropped off from the second campaign. In this campaign, I think I announced this at the beginning. Yeah, at Tyrion they wouldn't have dropped off because, like I said, there is no fellowship period in this campaign. So
Whatever Burin has, he has, and then add on to it?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so none of my 7 would have went away.
I can't imagine that you had 7 shadow points from the first session.
Yeah, I don't know. That was what was written.
Burin had 10, man.
I think it was because when the one time I wasn't here, someone killed someone with Tessero.
Oh yeah, you aren't that far gone. Okay. So you can start over.
I'll put him at like 5.
Put him at like 1 because I think we've only done 1 roll.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's after today. That'll be 3 then. That's good.
Wait, so you want me to put him at 1 to start then, and so now I have 2?
No. Max, you would just have the one that you just failed.
Okay.
What was the DC?
15.
Okay. Alright, I got one.
And it's once it reaches your wisdom score?
Once it surpasses.
Surpasses, gotcha.
Alright, my wisdom score is 18.
Yeah. Faraday's like immune to it.
Yeah, Anglin would have been pretty good too. I think he had 18 in the first campaign or close.
All right, so let me look before we go, let's look in the lore section and see if there's anything that you look under handouts, lore, current session. We have, I gotta share some of this with you guys. Valerian, it's where the elves, a lot of the elven kingdoms and the humans were, where a lot of the battles with Morgoth were. It was the land basically as you can read, to the west of the Blue Mountains, and now is all underwater. We have a lore card for the Blue Mountains in there, and it's too bad that Spriggs couldn't be here because tonight is going to be one of two like culminating sessions for Burren. You have been told that Burren's father was Balin, and that his mother was a Firebeard. And so you're going to be going to a place that in the Blue Mountains where his mother, being a Firebeard, is from, and you're going to find out some information tonight that would have been really interesting, I think, for Spriggs.
Can pass that along when I'm giving him a hard time.
Yeah. All right. There's some information about Taniquetil, the mountain you're on, the Silmarils, the Pelori Mountains, the mountain chain you're in right now. But other than that, I think we're ready to go. So Ingwë would tell you before you go through the portal that to be on the lookout, because particularly the two Silmaril trials that you're going to do, you aren't going to be the only ones looking for them. Now that Morgoth is back, there are some things in motion, and remember, Morgoth had the Silmarils for a while, and he liked them. He wore them on a crown on his head, and so he's going to be wanting them back. And Ingwë tells you that I'll write it down for you. Somebody can put it in the quest journal if you don't mind. But Vic and Spriggs are gone, so somebody else is going to have to step up. So let's see here. So this is the password to.
I'll put it in.
All right. So this is the password to bring the portal back. So wherever you are, if you yell this into the sky,
that'll bring us back to here.
A portal to Ilmarin will open.
Okay. I gotta find out where the quest journal is. Yeah, that can be done anytime.
It can be now that you have. So it doesn't work for anyone, but once you have entered the portal from Ilmarin, you essentially are able to come back.
Good Lord, where's the quest journal at? There's so much stuff in here.
it's under handouts, miscellaneous, probably.
Okay, there we go. I'm confused. What do you mean? Not everyone can use it.
Well, some Joe Schmo in the Shire couldn't just yell Umdar Nador into the sky and get to the land of the gods, right? To the temple of the gods.
Right. It's just for us.
Well, it's for anybody that's used this portal. Ilmarin is a gateway to all over Middle Earth.
So do we have to come back here, or do we go directly to another spot?
You would have to come back here, and you probably would want to in some cases if you needed to rest.
What's the name of this location again? Say it one more time.
Ilmarin, Ilmarin.
Okay.
All right, so that's it. He taught you the password for the portal, and he told you to watch out for people seeking the Silmarils. So, you guys see on the other side of this portal, you can kind of see darkness.
Wait, can I ask one more question?
Yeah.
So we're the only ones who can open the portal to bring us back. Can we bring other people back with us?
He says that only those that have used the portal can travel through the portal. He's only used the portal a few times himself, and he's never brought anybody else back with him.
He's not exactly a scientist here.
I mean, it is a portal, so
It's not his portal either. You know.
He's borrowing it and loaning it to us, huh?
Rent a portal.
Rental kind, and you have no freaking clue what's wrong with it. But there you go.
I said he was Virgil, not the devil.
So Burn would see the Blue Mountains and recognize them, right, in the portal?
Yes.
So he'd be pretty eager to step through.
Yeah, so you saw that initially. What you see in it now is darkness. You essentially, as the portal was scanning and sort of focusing on the point that you were going to, you saw the coasts of Linden and the Blue Mountains, and now just darkness.